my name is Trishna and this is what I do. I read, write and make YouTube videos. So I was planning to actually do this wrap-up thingy in the ending of March. Like it was supposed to be a February and March wrap-up. But then I was so busy in March and April first week that I completely forgot about this. I actually forgot that I even had a channel. Like this is like from my last video, it's been a month I think. So I completely forgot that I was supposed to make videos. So yeah, here we are. So this is going to be a January, February, March and April wrap up. It was supposed to be like a quarterly thing, like every 3 months, but then yeah, so it will become now a 4-month thing, whatever. But like April was a really good month for me, both reading wise and like generally, because even though like my 12th grade started, I was so busy and like stressed, but like my summer vacation started on April 14th. So I've been pretty free since then and I was supposed to do this, but I was like, I need a break because like since last November, it's been like literally so busy and I've been so stressed and anxious. So I just took a break and I read so many books in April. Like I read 11, which is like really good for me. And then I just watched a lot of things, and since Multiverse of Madness is releasing this week, I just sat and watched a bunch of Marvel movies that were like necessary connected to Multiverse of Madness, and I rewatched some series. And like honestly, like this was an amazing month and I got to go out with my friends a lot, so yeah, that was amazing. But anyway, moving on, let's get on with it. Okay, so like before we begin talking about books, I just wanted to show you all this like new bookshelf sort of a thing that I got. So the top books are like a stack of my books, like the book that I have written, The Abandoned Fighter. Then we have the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, and this side we have the Dark Arts series by Cassandra Clare. Then we have Hearthstopper by Alice Osman, and then we have the other books by Alice Osman. And honestly, like I don't know if that's like Hearthstopper has been shadowing them, but her other books are so good. Like I love them so much. And Alice Osman is just such a wonderful author and illustrator. Like I'm literally in love with them. But yeah. So yeah, let's begin. Okay, so obviously we'll be going in a chronological order from the book that I first read on January 1st to the book that I'm currently reading. So the first book that I read is One Night Only by Catherine Walsh, and I gave this 3.5 stars. And honestly, it was a disappointing read. Like it was good, it wasn't like bad or anything, but personally I didn't really love it. It was like okay, like the story was kind of new. Like they have a one night stand and then they go and meet at a wedding in Ireland. And the best part is like the story was like half was based in Ireland and then they got back to New York. So the other half was in New York, and like it was really cool. And honestly, I would have loved if like their relationship in Ireland was like they were roaming around and we would have gotten to like see some of the places in Ireland through them, because Ireland is such a beautiful country and that would have been really cool. And yeah, I just didn't feel like when you're reading a romance book, like most of the stories are like the repeat of the same thing. So like you want something new in the romance, you want something like that you'll be like surprised by, and this was just like really straight and like there was nothing. It was just a very straight book. So yeah, it's not like I hated it, but like the first read of the year, I expected it to be like give me more, but like that probably was my fault for selecting that book. I don't know, but like 3.5 stars is still good and I really liked it. So yeah. And the next book that I read is Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, and I still don't have my book because one of my friends borrowed it in March and still hasn't given it back, and I don't know when I'll get it back because like as I told, my summer vacation is going on, so I'll probably not see her till like June. But yeah, if you're seeing this video, give the book back. Like I miss it. Like it's like not there on the shelf. It's like Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and then there is just a gap, and then there is As Good as Dead. That does not look good. But yeah, and Good Girl's Guide to Murder was an amazing book. But compared to the first book, it kind of felt a little boring because like first book she's investigating a murder, so like there are suspects and like just a murder is a lot cooler than a missing person. I feel, I don't know, so it was a little bit boring, but then again like there was a time limit to this, like she had to do it fast because like the person is missing, like it's happening in real time, whereas in the first book it happened like 5 years ago. So yeah, it was like really cool, I liked it, but like compared to the first book it was a little bit boring. So yeah, then obviously we have As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson again. So this is the third book in the series, and Good Girl Bad Blood was the second book. I read the first book in like 2021 December or November, and then I gave it a break. I don't know why, but I did. So yeah, this was the third book, and I buddy read this with one of my best friends, and this was like that experience was so good. Like reading it was obviously amazing, but like buddy reading it with her was like just talking about like when you're almost on the same chapters and you're like, oh my god, did you read that part, that was so cool, and like just doing that was like really fun. And just okay, so this book is like divided, like I divided into two parts because like the first part, half of it is like they're building it up, like the pressure and everything is like till like this part around, it's just a build up, and you'll be like, oh my god, what's going to happen, because you're scared for literally, Pip is scared for her life and so are you. So you'll be like, oh my god, what is going to happen, and then it happens like right in the middle of the book, like the huge climax thing happens in the middle of the book, and then it's just a downfall from there. And it's not like second half is bad, but the first half and the middle part of the book are like so good, and the second half obviously I can't spoil it because like this book is like filled with spoilers. So the second half is amazing too. It's just so good, the entire book. It's like the third best book I think that I've read this year. It was so good, and like the ending of this was heartbreaking, so I like cried a lot. I was so scared throughout this book, but yeah, it was amazing, and I was so disappointed when I completed this and checked, and like Holly Jackson does not have any other books, and I'm like really sad because like she's become one of my favorite authors, and I really want to read more books by her. So yeah, I'm really sad. So Holly, please write more books. I really want to know what happens. Like her writing is like, it like encapsulates you, and you'll be like, you can't leave it, because I remember like even the first book I read like 50% and then I couldn't put it down. Like the second half I read overnight, like I didn't sleep that day. I started like around 10 o'clock and like I sat and completed it. And same happened. Second book, I think the entire book I read in like 2 sittings, again same as this, 2 sittings, like morning one sitting and then that night one sitting. So all of her books are like so good. I love them so much. Genuinely such a good author. Then we have I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman, and I actually started reading all of Alice Oseman's books because I was planning to do a video about like all her books, and I'm still going to do it. It'll be like after I complete Radio Silence and Solitaire. But yeah, as soon as I complete them, I will be doing the video because I'm done with all her other books. So like hopefully by April ending. So yeah, I Was Born for This is her third, I think, novel, and it was personally not my favorite, like out of her other books, but it was still really good. And I think her books are the first books that I've read like that don't have any romance in them. Obviously Hearthstopper is a romance graphic novel, but the other books like this and Loveless, like there is no romance, and like I thought I wouldn't like that because I am a person who literally thrives on romance, but this was amazing. And like the main characters, Angel and Jimmy, when you're reading you'll think that they'll end up in a relationship or something, but then they won't. And that's amazing honestly, because they're such different people and you see them like meet. So basically the story is that Angel is like this huge fan of a boy band called The Ark, and Jimmy is the lead singer or lead guitarist of The Ark. So you will see like Angel literally worshipping them, and then you will see the Jimmy and his bandmates like not very happy with the fans, and you will see that journey of how they understand each other. Yeah, so you will get to see like this journey of them understanding each other, and they don't need to like almost till year. So till that time it's just them in their own worlds, and like basically Angel came from some other town to London for their concert and like a meet and greet thing. So, and you will see the best part about this is that it is Angel meets an online friend who she's like really close with, and they go to the concert together, and they met like through the ARC fandom. So I love that part because like there are so many online friends that I have that I want so badly to meet, and like the way she expresses it, the way she talks about how you know that person so well but you've never seen their feet. Like that's such a funny thing to say, but like that's so true because so many of my online friends, honestly, I feel more comfortable talking about my deep issues with them. I don't know why that is. Maybe because you know that like even in real life if you meet you'll not be like super in the same town or anything, so you're just, it's easier to talk to them. So yeah, and like the way she talks, like her best friend, the online friend, her name is Juliet, and it's just so good. And even though like I didn't give it like 5 stars or 4 stars, it's still such a good book, and it talks about friendship and how you might think you love someone but you don't actually know them. It's just such a good book, and the ending of this was heartbreaking, like, but then it became like, it wasn't a sad ending, like this ending is still a happy ending thing, but like the things that happen in the before the ending are like very heartbreaking and stuff. So yeah, that was a weird thing, but I still love the book. And we have another Alice Oseman book. This is Loveless. This is one of my favorite reads of this year, and it was so fucking good. Like I have genuinely never connected more to a character. So the main character's name was Georgia, and she is a fucking badass. Just I love her so much. Like throughout the book, everything that she says, everything that she does, like obviously sometimes I was like frustrated with her, and the things like the decisions she was making were very, I don't know how to like, not bad per se, but like things that they thought would turn out to be okay obviously didn't turn out to be okay. So yeah, sometimes I was frustrated with her, but like overall this was such an amazing book. And like this book literally felt like you were getting hugged by a bunch of queer people. Like that's the definition, because it felt like a big warm hug by just a bunch of queer people. And I don't know, it just meant, it felt like I was being accepted. And like she just got into her college, university. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. So there they have like this queer LGBTQ club sort of thing, and she didn't think she was part of the community, but then she realizes, obviously. So this book is about aromantic and asexual, so it's basically her journey to find herself and what she wants and everything. So yeah, so she gets into that society, and in a lot of parts it's just them talking about queer things. So there's this one character in the book called Sunil. So first of all, Indian rep, hell yeah. And then second of all, so basically he's the president of the society, the queer society. And I don't remember in which part, but he gives this one speech, okay? Like there is this ball kind of thing, and he gives a speech. And I was sobbing throughout the speech. It was like so good, and it was just so emotional. And just this book has so much pure joy. Like just reading it will make you feel so accepted. Even this was like really straightforward, mostly talking about identity, but also about friendships and the found family in this. Oh my god! So her best friends, like there's a lot of drama, and I'm not going to get into that, but like seeing all of them together in the ending was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. And yeah, it was like the found family in this is amazing, and I think I spoke about this in my video about found family books. So yeah, this was an amazing read, and honestly Alice Oseman is such an amazing writer. I'm literally in love with them. So yeah. Then I read the Folk of the Air series, and this has been on my shelf for over an year. And I don't know why. I was scared of getting into them because they are like so hyped. Like literally, like it's so hyped. So I was really scared about it, but it turned out to be really good. So the first one is The Cruel Prince, and I think after I read this, I took a break and read a few other books, but I'm just going to talk about them all together. So The Cruel Prince, I didn't particularly love the book. I gave it, I think, like 4 stars, and it was okay. It's not like it was bad, but I only connected to Jude, and I really hated Carden in the first book. Like the way I hated him was so much. I genuinely one of my friends like loves the book, and I kept on going to her. And I'm like, why do you love him so much? He's literally an asshole. So like obviously and genuinely, when they said The Cruel Prince, I wasn't expecting him to be actually cruel. Like I don't know. So I didn't expect him to be that cruel. And then he turns out to be like really, really cruel. So I was like, okay, that was a surprise when it shouldn't have been. So yeah, so I really, really hated him in the first book, and I genuinely only went on to the second book because I love Jude. And like the plot is actually really good. So yeah, not much to say about that. The second book, however, The Wicked King. So this book started off a little bumpy, and I was like really bored for the first few pages. But then shit started happening, and honestly I think even this had like that second book syndrome, that between the first and the third book you want to get to the third book, so you don't pay much attention to it. I don't know what, but every time I'm reading a trilogy or like a 4-book series, the middle books always I give a lesser rating than like the first and the third book. I don't know why, but yeah. And this was good too, but like the ending of this was amazing. I loved it, and if you've read it, you know why. But yeah, this was like good. It was not bad, but yeah. Then lastly, obviously, Queen of Nothing. This is my favorite book. First of all, compared to the other two, I think this is like much thinner, and I love that. Like that was amazing. I don't know why. Like the pace in this was great. Like it was really fast paced, and I love fast paced books. So yeah, this is Queen of Nothing, and it was, I think, the out of three, the best. I love Jude and Carden in this one, which is funny because I've still not forgiven Carden for everything that he did in the first book, but I understand his motives, so I'm like okay with it. But still, I don't know. I don't love Carden, but I love Jude, and she in this is like amazing. She like finally gets that power and control that she's been asking for, that she's literally been working for all these years, and that is amazing to see. And again, the second half of this book, beautifully written. I loved it. Okay, first of all, the quotes in these books are like really good, like especially the things that Carden says to Jude are like so sweet and cute. And if anybody has those letters, because I don't know where to find them, but if anybody has those letters, please send them to me. Like I need them in my life. But yeah, and okay, so overall this was a good series, but like the entire series together was good, but I didn't really love the first two books. I love this one, so it makes up for it, I guess. And talking about Jude and Carden's romance, like it was a really good enemies to lovers romance. Like I accept that it was really good, but the problem I had with their romance is that it's obviously, I'm still calling it rushed when it's literally been stretched out for 3 books, but I'm calling it rushed because every time, like suppose they kissed and the next like they wouldn't talk about the kiss, so like it went going from 0 to 100 and then back to zeros, and they didn't talk about their feelings at all in the first 2 books. They only spoke about it in this book. Like they were, I get it, like Jude was hiding her feelings because she thought Carden was use them against him, and Carden, I don't know why Carden does anything, because like the other problem is the 3 books are first point of views and only from Jude's point of view. I think that was one of my main issues. You don't get to know much about the other characters' motives and stuff, so I think that was the issue. Oh, and I forgot, the book is after Cruel Prince. So there is a novella called Lost Sisters. So that's basically very short. It's an e-novella. So I read that. and it's basically from Tarine's point of view. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I searched it up. I'm not fine with pronunciation, so I'm going with Tarine. So it's from her point of view, and I don't know. It was like really weird because in the first book, even in the second book, I like hated her with like a passion. And even though she tried to justify her things, and I think I understand where she's coming from or what she wants to say, but like so basically the book is in the form of a letter that she's sending to Jude, and the entire thing is basically her gaslighting Jude into forgiving her. Like she's like, you have to forgive me after this, you have to forgive me once you get to know why I did it. Like, no, she does not. Like, stop gaslighting her, like literally. But I think it was okay, like you get to know stuff. And in the third book I liked Tarine, so like it was okay, I guess. Didn't love it, felt like a waste of time. But yeah, so that's the Folk of the Air series. Pretty good. Then we have this beautiful book. So this is the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book, okay, first of all, before I go into the things that I don't like about this book, first the things that I love about this book. So the quotes in this, just the quotes in this, I like normally I don't like obsess over quotes. I barely ever obsess over quotes, but the quotes in this are genuinely so beautiful, and they warm your heart, make you feel things. So yeah, this was like I just gave it like, even the 4 stars that I gave this were like mainly the 2 stars were for the quotes. Like they're so beautiful. But yeah, so the problems, I have a lot of problems with this book. I don't know why, and like I got literally attacked for giving it 4 stars. First of all, I get that you liked it, and you gave it 5 stars. Happy for you, happy that you enjoyed the book. But people are allowed to have their own opinions, okay? And I literally got attacked for giving this book 4 stars, and people literally DM me asking what is wrong with you. Like, okay, okay, but yeah. And then the problem is, like, every time I talk about this, like, you hated the book, so while you're talking about it, like, I didn't hate the book, I genuinely did. Like, I'm giving it 4 stars. It's just some things in the books that were like really problematic, at least for me. So yeah, so first off, Achilles, in the entire second half of the book, like from when they left the Chiron's like the cave, since then he is a fucking asshole. And I already knew this. Like I have read the Iliad like before, so I knew that. But like reading it from his point, like from Patroclus' point of view, like, and the problem I had was that he doesn't do anything like to talk to Eccles. He just lets him do everything, and he only gets pissed off in like the last like ending. So I don't know, I just don't like that. And then the entire part in the middle, not the middle, where is that? But when Eccles' mom, she comes and takes him away from the palace when they come back from Chiron's place, and then Patroclus goes and finds him in that palace. I'm sorry, I forgot all the names. Like I don't remember any of the names except for Patroclus and Achilles. So really sorry about that. But that part, and when after going there, he's like married and stuff. And I know his mom forced him to, but that was such a weird part. And then the things that happened after that with the girl. And I don't hate that girl, whoever Achilles was married to. I'm sorry, again, forgot the name. But I don't hate her. Like, she genuinely liked Achilles and they got married. And like, that's understandable. And she was like, okay, I don't want to spoil it, but like, all that. So that was like okay, but the things that happened while Patroclus was there were so disgusting. And like the smut in this book, they tried to make it feel like, you know, that old times thing. It just ended up being disgusting. So yeah, that is the problem. And the other problem is, since I already knew like what all happens in the Iliad, this felt like a reread with beautiful quotes added in. Genuinely felt like that. So yeah, that's why I think those are the reasons. And even though I love the way it was told, I don't like what was told. So that's not the author's fault or the book's fault, that's the Iliad's fault. So I'm not blaming anyone. But yeah, okay, the ending quote, like, also the other problem is that people hyped it up to be like an emotional book. Like, everybody was like, you will cry, you need tissues, and the only like the point I cried was for the last quote. I didn't cry anywhere else, so that was a weird hype that I like. Genuinely, I was halfway through and I was like, I'm supposed to be crying, aren't I? And I didn't cry at all except for the ending. I didn't cry for either of their deaths. So yeah. So next is, yay, Hearthstopper by Alice Oseman. Also, these books are heavy. I didn't realize that, but yeah. So starting off with the first book, like obviously, so I have been planning to read these for a really long time, and then I finally did in March because like the show was coming out, and I was like, I need to read them. So I read them, and seriously, Alice Oseman, I want like so good, like genuinely so good. And like these were my first ever graphic novels. I mean, kind of like, is Dog Diaries considered a graphic novel? I don't know what the hell Dog Diaries were, but I was obsessed with them in 7th grade. So yeah, so these were my first graphic novels, and genuinely so good. Honestly, I like the 3rd and 4th volumes more than the 1st and 2nd ones, but I gave all of them 5 stars because genuinely masterpieces. But yeah, so the first book is basically about them meeting and their friendship, basically Nick and Charlie's friendship and everything. And it's so cute. Like the 1st and 2nd volumes are just so wholesome and cute. And there is so much representation, like obviously gay representation, like the main characters, but then there is Tara and Darcy, lesbian representation. Then there is Elle, who is a trans girl of color. That was amazing. Like seeing that was amazing. And then there is, that was like this token straight friend, which is nice. Like everyone is queer, and then he's just like, hey there, I'm straight. So that was funny. Then okay, so like their rugby coach, Mrs. Singh or Miss Singh, I'm forgetting, but yeah, Mrs. I don't know, whatever. So like she is Indian, so that was amazing. And she has a wife. I'm not sure about her sexuality, but she has a wife, so like she's queer too. And that was, all of that was like genuinely so amazing, and I love this book so much. And like they talk a little bit about, I don't think they talk about this, I don't remember which one, but they talk a lot about bullying in one of them. So reading about that was good. Like it shows how to handle it, and shows what all queer youth go through. And yeah, seeing like some homophobic comments in this, like overall obviously these are like happy positive books, but those are things that need to be addressed to give the whole scope of it, like what teenager or LGBTQ teenagers go through at schools and how that needs to change. So yeah, that was wonderful. And the second book is like, you will feel the love between them through the book. It's so cute, like them throughout this book. It starts off with like this beautiful kiss in the rain that's like genuinely heart melting. And yeah, I just love these books so much. Yeah, and as I said, I'm planning to do Alice Oseman videos. So I'll like talk about them more in that, but like just going through them now. Then third book, this is set in Paris. Again, so cute, but so they started addressing mental illnesses and disorders in this book. Like you will see a few things like not foreshadowing, but like you'll see symptoms in the first and second book, but they directly address that in this book. So you will see Charlie's depression, you will see his anorexia, that's a type of eating disorder. Then you have seen like we can see Charlie's anxiety from like the first book as well, but like again addressed in this book. So like this was a really sad come happy book, because like in Paris it's like this Paris squad, and they're like all having fun in Paris and everything. So like that was really cute and wholesome, but also they address all of this, which becomes a little serious. So I don't know, this is like a really, it made me cry. Like I start like in these two I was like teary, but I didn't like full on sob, but like from the third book I started crying. And then the fourth book, this is like I think the saddest book, but my favorite out of the four, which is yeah, I just love crying, I think. But so the main part that I loved about this is this book is mostly told through their journals, because like Charlie and Nick are not together throughout the book. Like they somewhat are, but he's like in a psychiatric unit, he's in a hospital, Charlie, so you don't really see them interact much, but you'll see it through the journals, like their journal entries, and that I found was like really good way of showing, because like journals again play a very important role in mental health, and like writing down your feelings, writing down everything really helps with your growth. So that was a really good way of showing. I don't know if they intended it, but like I got that like I found that meaning in that. So yeah, this was I think I cried through the whole thing. Also, can we just talk about what an amazing person Nick's mom is? Like, I'm literally in love with her. She's such a good person, and the way, like, obviously, she like supports Nick's sexuality. Like, when he comes out to her as bi, like, she's all for it. And obviously, that is amazing. But in this book, the way she talks about how Charlie, so basically, Nick goes and he's like, I want to help Charlie, but I don't know how to. And she's like, you know, sometimes you can't do anything. It's up to the person to find themselves and help themselves. And that was genuinely like such good advice. Like I'm a psychology student, so I like understand most of this. So like that was like that's such point on advice. And honestly, the way Alice Oseman like talks about mental illnesses is so good. Like she's spoken about mental illnesses in I Was Born for This and Loveless as well. And obviously that's like not focused on mental health, but the third and fourth book of these like properly focused on mental health, and you see how Charlie comes out of it, and they talk about how like mental illness is not a thing that you can get rid of. It will always be with you. If you like it or not, it's always going to be there, and it's up to you if you want to suppress it or if you want to recover. But like obviously there are different ways, and they show that, and so beautiful. I love this. And also in this there is like they go out with like since Traham and Higgs are like boys girls school, so they have like their chaperones, right? So one teacher from Traham and one teacher from Higgs, and they fall in love while in Paris, and that was like so cute and so wholesome. And you see them in this as well a little bit. So like yeah, overall that was like really cute. And the so I don't know if I should talk about that, but like the seventh, so basically these books have totally 6 chapters, and then the 7th chapter is being updated by Alice like on and off once in a while, and 7th and 8th chapter together will be published like as the 5th volume. So that is like I love that part. Like after the emotional wreck that this left me in, the 7th chapter is like so cute, and like they are like it's just really cute. And also I don't remember in which one, but they say I love you to each other. So basically Nick is in the shower and Charlie just goes into the shower, he's like I love you, and he leaves, and Nick is like what just happened, and he tries to go out and he slips and falls in the tub. It's so funny. Like even though these were mainly sad books, Alice manages to make you laugh while reading them, and like that's such a powerful skill to have as an author, because at least for me, when I'm writing a sad scene, like I get so into that and I become sad and like I'm crying. So adding a joke between that, just I'm scared to do it because I don't think it will end up being a joke. It will just end up being like I don't know what. So like that's such a powerful skill to have, like just dropping a joke in between any situation. And hopefully one day I have that skill, but for now I don't, and that's really sad. But yeah, so this is I kind of messed up the order, but like these are such amazing books. And honestly, even if you haven't, okay, so I wanted to talk about the show as well. Again, I'll be talking about it like deeply in the Alice Oseman video, but like the casting of the show, genuinely so amazing. Like every single character is so point on. Like Kit and Joe are the perfect Nick and Charlie. Like So good. And Kit auditioned for Charlie's role. Like, dude, what would you think? But yeah, they're so perfect. And the best part is like almost all of the main characters who are like supposed to be 16, 15, 16 in the books are played by teenagers, like 18, 19, like most of them, and they are still in high school. And that's like the best part, because usually whenever you see American like shows, it's always like these 25, 30-year-olds playing teenagers who are in high school, and that's just really weird because it sets unattainable beauty standards. It sets everything is just really weird. So actually teenagers playing teenagers, that's what we need, and that was so well portrayed in the show. And even the way they the best part is the way they were like talking and chatting and texting, like it was actually the way we do, because they are teenagers and they understand how the present people, like present generation text. So like that was really good. I love that. And Tori, oh my god, I love seeing her on screen just with her glass everywhere sipping. She's one of my favorite characters, and I'm so excited for Solitaire. Like obviously I know that it's a sad book, but it's Tori, so like I'm really excited for that. And yeah, Hearthstopper by Alice Oseman, everyone should read it, and I'm just going to keep recommending it to like every single person in my circle who's not a reader reads it, because I've already convinced a lot of people to watch the show, and like after watching the show they're like, what happens after this? So I'm like, you can read the book. So they start from the first book, and one of my friends completed all the 4 books, and genuinely, so it feels so good to make people read Hearthstopper. Like this is my life's goal. Okay, so I know like I completely went off on Hearthstopper, but like it deserves it. Okay, so the next book that I read is What's Left of Me by Trishna. And this was a good book, like romance-wise, it's like kind of dark, and you should definitely check the trigger warnings before reading. And I don't think the author put them anywhere, but you can check them out on Storycraft. There is a summarized version of all the trigger warnings, and that's like the best part about Storycraft. I love that. But yeah, so I read this, and it was like a dark, sad romance kind of a thing. It was not the usual genre that I prefer. I love rom-coms, like this was a little different, but it was still really, really good. And I liked it, the way it's written. It's just a little cringe in some points, and the ending was okay, so I'm just trying to say that it has accidental pregnancy, and it is important because like it plays a major role in their story, and why the hero is like a little first not ready to fall in love again. So it like plays an important part, and I understand that, but I still do not like accidental pregnancies. So it was just a little weird because of that. But other than that, it was like a well written story, and I like the main characters a lot. But yeah, before reading, definitely check the trigger warnings, because like there are so many things that happen. So yeah, it was a good book. Not much else to say. If you're into sad, dark romances, then go for it. Then we have another series, and that's the first half of the Shatter Me series by Dhai Mafi. And this was a really good read. Like I didn't expect it to be. First of all, I was like really scared about it because it's so long, and I was like, how is like I still don't know if I like the second half. I haven't read them yet, so I was like, how is she going to like continue the same story for like that long with the same characters and everything? But I love these 3. So 4, this is the novella thing. I'll just come to it. So first off, Shatter Me. So this was an amazing like the first half of this book was like really slow, but it's still good, and I like Juliet a lot. I do not know why she does not like. Whenever I see people talk about Shatter Me, they're always talking about Aaron Warner, but like I never see them talking about Juliet, and she deserves so much love and appreciation. Like after going through all that bullshit, she still like has. Okay, she went a little crazy in second and third book, but she still kind of like has her brain, and she's still making good choices better than most people do. So yeah, I think she deserves more love. And I hated Warner in this book, even though multiple people told me that you'll regret it later. I still hated him. So yeah, I don't listen to people, but I really, really regret it now, because then I read Destroy Me by it's like a novella between Shatter Me and Unravel Me, and I love him. Like, I read this and I was like, so there's one best friend who like forced me into reading these. So I was like texting her throughout the time I was reading these, and as soon as I read like the first few chapters of Destroy Me, I'm like, oh my god, this is what you meant, and this is why, oh my god, and then like literally just texting her saying, oh my god, this is so good. So yeah, I love Horner. He's like amazing in the novella. Like, you get, so basically the novella is from his point of view. All the other books are from Juliet's point of view. So you get to know his story a little bit. You get to know his backstory and the things, like basically everything you hated him for in the Shatter Me will be explained in this, like why he did those things, and you'll fall in love with him even if you don't want to. So yeah, then Unravel Me. So this book was really emotional. I didn't expect it to be, but like it was really, really emotional. Maybe I should have, because like that literally teardrops from the eye, but like I didn't expect it to be that sad, but it ended up being super sad. And like, you don't get to see Warner for like a lot of the book, so I like missed him like so much. And I'm getting like I don't remember where Unravel Me ended and where Ignite Me began, so this will be like confusion. I'll talk about both of them together. So, oh, okay, first of all, Adam, oh my god, I hate that man so much. Okay, so like, first book he was annoying, but like he was good to Juliet, so I was like, okay, we are going to like, even though I knew that she and Warner would end up together, I was like, fine, for the meantime, whatever you're doing, just do it. So I was okay with them being in a relationship and all. It was just still weird, because he's the first. Okay, so this is all explained in Ignite Me when she and Kenji are having a conversation. But like, I realized this in the first book. Like, Adam is like the first person who she met, and like out of the asylum, and like she fell in love with him. So you can't really call it love, because it's literally like that, you know, teenage first love, puppy love kind of a thing. Like, you're just in love because you want to try it out kind of thing. So it was like that. And like, in the second and third book, like in the first book he was just annoying, but in the second and third book he's genuinely such a fucking asshole. I hated him like with my whole life. And yeah, he's just so bad. And in the third book, I wanted to kill him. Like, he's so rude to Juliet, and he like does not try to understand her point of view at all. And like, multiple times he does stuff that could like hurt other people. And yeah, I just don't like him at all. And Warner in the third book, oh my god, I love him so much. And right now, the only thing I'm scared about, I'm starting Restore Me in a few days. Like, I ordered it yesterday, it should be here in 2 to 3 days, and I'll start it then. So, and the only thing I'm scared in Restore Me is like Juliet and Warner's relationship, because like it's like 3 more books, and like there's definitely something going to happen that will like break them up, or maybe like some problems between them. And I'm really scared about that, because I hate emotional romantic drama in fantasy dystopian books. And I'm definitely sure there is some or the other romantic drama going to happen. Like, they're definitely going to break up at least once. So I'm scared about that, but otherwise these were amazing. Again, Ignite Me was one of my favorite reads of the year. It's so good. And yeah, it's like these books are like, sometimes they become slow, but usually there is always a ending in mind, and you will see them get through that and all. It was really good. Loved the ending of this, but it was like, sorry, it was like left there, like, I don't know, like I expected more action, but it was still good. So I really love these. These were amazing too. And I'm really looking forward to reading more books by Time Murphy. I read Shatter Me, and I'm like, I need more. So I like went and searched, and this Woven Kingdom, like, it sounds so good. So like, as soon as I read that, I was like, I need this in my TBR. So yeah, once I complete these, I'm really looking forward to more books from. Okay, so this is like the last book. Like, I'll be talking about one more book after this, but like this is the last book that I completed, and that's The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. So as you can see, I gave it 2 stars, and there are reasons, like genuine reasons for this. I hate the book, first of all. It's like the romance is okay, nothing special, but like it was fine. But the smut in this book is horrible and gross. Like, I've read smut, I've read good smut, I've read bad smut. I'm okay with smut. This was just gross. I don't know how else to explain. It was just so bad. I genuinely don't like the book. I don't like the smut, obviously. But the main problem that I have is with the main character, Rowan Kane. So he's the main lead, and I love the other main character. Her name is Zara. She's a female lead, and I love her. But Rowan is such a fucking asshole. Like, I say that like about most romance heroes, especially like Grumpy Sunshine. Like, if he was grumpy, I would be fine with it. Like, just grumpy. This guy is possessive. He is selfish. He is greedy. He is jealous. I could keep on going. He's just, I hate him. And I like went on a rant in my Instagram story for like almost like 10 minutes, and I don't want to put you all through that, so I'll like wrap this up because I don't want to spend that much time talking about this stupid book. But the ending of this book was so weird. Like, he's a fucking asshole for like 90% of the book, and then something happened. Like, something doesn't happen. He just realizes that his mom, who is dead, wouldn't be proud of the man that he's become. Like, seriously, you just realized that? I've been saying that since the first page, you idiot. So he suddenly realizes that, and he's like, oh my god, I'm doing all this wrong. I need to go apologize to Zara and bullshit. And genuinely, the worst part was Zara forgives him without much groveling. Like, he just does not even properly apologize. He like says, I'm sorry, blah blah. And she's like, it's okay, and they kiss. And I was weirded out by that, like, because she was genuinely angry at him for something that happens, and then she forgives him like just like that. That nobody's going to be like, if whatever he did in the book, if that would have happened to me in real life, like somebody did those things to me, I would go and kick him in the balls. I'm not kidding. That bad. Oh, and I would have given this book 1 star. The only reason I gave it 2 stars is because it has diversity and representation. And like, Zara is a person of color. I'm a little confused about where, but I think she's from Arabia. And then her sister has Down syndrome. So you get like, I love when they add stuff. So that's the only reason I gave it 2 stars. Or else this book does not deserve any stars. It's that bad. And I think this is the worst romance book I've ever read in my life. And I've read a ton of romance books. So yeah, so this was bad. So the last book that I'll be talking about is The Wrath and the Dawn. So this is a retelling of 1001 Nights, and it's a duology. This is the first book in the duology. And the problem is that I started this book as soon as I completed Fine Print, and I don't think I was in the mood to read at that time. So I read like 25 pages, and I was like, wait. Actually, I read 2 of the short stories before that, like, they are part of this. There are 2 short stories that were like published as e-novellas. I don't know. So like really short. It takes like 25-30 minutes. So one is called The Moth and the Flame, and one is called The Crown and the Arrow. So The Crown and the Arrow is from the love interest point of view, and The Moth and the Flame is from like 2 side characters point of view, like the story before all of this. So it was really, I love The Moth and the Flame, and The Crown and the Arrow also like talks about his motivations and everything, so they're like really good. So I was like really excited to start this, and I read like the first chapter, and it's good, it's not bad, but like the author uses a lot of big words and I do not like that. Like, when you're writing books, it should like be accessible to all, right? That's the point of books. And they use like these big words where you can use like simpler words, and I don't understand why they do that. So like, this is based in Arabia, so like they use a few Arabic words, and that's fine with me. I look up the meaning because that is the author being authentic, and I respect that. I love that when they use that such things. But like, the English words are like big words that could be replaced with easier words. So like that is the problem that I have so far. But I'll obviously be continuing it because I'm genuinely excited for the story. So I'll probably start it again later. Right now, I'm probably going to start rereading the Percy Jackson books because as soon as they casted Percy Walker's Cobble, I was like really excited and like I was planning to read them. And then I was like, no, I'll probably read them closer to the release of the show, but that's not going to be for at least another year. So maybe I'll just start them like slowly and start rereading them. So yeah, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to read now. So but I really want to continue this. Like it's really interesting. I just wanted to mention that. So yeah, that's my wrap up video. And I just realized I forgot to mention the second novella in this. That's from Adam's point of view. It's called Fracture Me, and it's between Unravel Me and Ignite Me. And that novella, I don't know, was it supposed to explain his actions, but it just made me hate him more. Like I genuinely like hated him with a passion from that book. Like Unravel Me, I was obviously like, didn't like him, but like after reading Fracture Me, I hate Adam like so much. And I don't think I've ever like hated a person, like obviously like villains, but like not a person who's supposed to be like on the good side. He's one of the protagonists, like not him. So yeah, it was just really weird. I've never hated a person who the others see as a good person. So yeah, but yeah, it was like overall Shatter Me, like the series is really good, and I'm so looking forward to starting Restore Me because I genuinely want to see, and I want to know. Like they said that the next three books dive deeper into Juliet's past. They genuinely want to know more about that. Like they didn't explain a lot about Juliet's past at all. Like they said what all happened and how she ended up in the asylum, but they didn't explain her life, and I'm genuinely excited about that. So yeah, that was all the books that I've read so far this year, and honestly it's been amazing. Like the reading wise, this year has been pretty good so far, like except for a few books that I gave really low ratings to. Like The Fine Print is probably the only romance book that I've given 2 stars to. So that was like really weird because yeah, that's a new thing for me. I don't give books lower than 3 stars. So that was like new for me. But yeah, other than that, it's been really good, and I love talking about them because most of these books I like are new, right? So I didn't talk about them before in my videos. So it was like really fun talking about them. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. All my socials are linked down below, and I recently started like tweeting. Like I'm active on Instagram and Twitter, so follow me on there, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.